Unitarian, yeah.
Unitarian.
Yeah.
Unitarian.
Yeah. Very good.
Unitarian.
Yeah.
Clergy.
Yes.
Clergy.
Yes.
Abusive.
Abuse, yes.
Abusive.
Yeah.
Abusive.
Yeah. Sucks. Yeah.
Class.
Sucks, yeah.
Sucks. Sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
That's right, yeah. Good day. Enjoy learning English, yeah. Bye-bye. So yeah, this is the first time I've recorded it. The last time it happened, I was in the middle of actually writing the slogan, and I didn't have my camera running, and I didn't want to start it up. But in this case, since my camera was already running, and I don't normally censor my protest videos by hiding stuff, I decided to just let it run. And you know, it's interesting. Like this woman, you know, she finally learned how to properly pronounce the words. She probably doesn't understand what it actually means, but she's on her way to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I mean, she's at least learning how to pronounce the words. And, you know, the next step would be to determine, you know, what do those words actually mean, you know, and then to look into how truthful that statement is. So, you know, and she probably doesn't understand the meaning of that last word there, which is open to considerable interpretation. I think she did understand that it meant sucks in terms of, you know, inhaling something or sucking something, you know, from a drink or whatever. I think she did get that. So, yeah, the weather's, it's literally, it's got these clouds, and it's a little on the cool side, and it's a bit windy, but it looked like it might rain, but it seems less likely now. So anyway, Unitarians cover up child sexual abuse. Indeed they do. We've discussed that at some length. I'd like to mention that I've tried to persuade the new president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, that she really needs to do the right thing and do what Rev Dr Peter Morales obstinately refused to do, and that is to formally withdraw that false blasphemous libel accusation against me, ensure that the UUA publicly apologizes for that false blasphemous libel accusation, disclose the truth about just how many Unitarian Universalist ministers, to say nothing of how many Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers are in fact guilty of engaging in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. And in my view, that means not just saying, you know, how many have been charged, tried, and convicted of such despicable crimes, but also how many have been credibly accused of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, even if they weren't actually arrested, you know. But, you know, people who filed legitimate complaints about sexual abuse of children or serious sexual assault, but, you know, where criminal charges may never have actually been brought against the ministers or Sunday school teachers in question. I'm sure the UUA has that information available, although it may well have destroyed some of that information. I've heard stories about the Unitarian Universalist Association losing documentation about clergy sexual abuse. I've heard in one case, I was told they lost a whole decade's worth of clergy sexual misconduct files. And when I say lose, I'm using that term loosely. I think it was more likely that somebody deliberately got rid of those files, made sure they disappeared. Anyhow, we're coming to the end of an hour's worth of protest here. Just going to check the camera. Okay, so I got about 7+ minutes of recording time in this second half-hour segment of video. And then I don't have a whole lot of recording time left after that because my memory card is quite full. So I may just pack it up sooner rather than later, especially since there are some other things I could be doing today, but I wanted to at least get a hour or so protest in here. Let's see what time it is, 10:25. So the service starts in 5 minutes. So we'll wait till the service starts. But we may not stick around a whole lot longer after the service starts. So yeah, weeding the garden. If only Unitarians were so efficient about weeding out their abusive clergy.
That's a good one.
Oh, it's a very good one. It's very metaphorical what you're doing. I mean, you're actually working to get rid of weeds in the garden, but unfortunately you and a whole lot of other Unitarian Universalists aren't doing anything to weed out your abusive clergy, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's verbal and psychological abuse. So, what you're doing is a good thing, but unfortunately you're neglecting some other good things you need to do. And that includes weeding out abusive clergy. So this woman heard what I was saying and came back with, that's a good one. Well, yeah, I'm pretty good with good ones. I think my unsafe sex picket sign's a pretty good one too. So she got what I was saying, like here they are weeding the garden, but they can't seem to weed out the abusive clergy. She understood exactly what I was saying. Here they are actually doing some actual weeding, but they can't do any metaphorical weeding. So anyway, 24:27. No, they threw the wrong person out of church when I complained about Reverend Ray Drennan's verbally and psychologically abusive behavior. And I wasn't asking them to throw Reverend Ray Drennan out of church. I was just asking them to ensure that he faced accountability for his intolerance and bigotry and slanderous and libelous statements. Well, slanderous because they weren't written; they were verbal, oral statements he made. So they were slanderous, but not libelous, because libelous is the written word. And he actually did write some, intolerant stuff about Pierre Elliot Trudeau's Roman Catholic state funeral some years later. On October 9th of 2000, the Gazette published a very opinionated opinion editorial written by Reverend Ray Drennan, in which he offensively criticized the fact that former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Elliot Trudeau's state funeral was a Roman Catholic religious service, and in his quite rude and intolerant criticism, he even basically swiped pretty much all God-believing people by saying that religious rituals, not just the funeral service for Pierre Elliot Trudeau, were meaningless. He spoke of meaningless rituals, which is pretty insulting to anyone who has a ritual that they consider to be meaningful. And kind of ironic in that, what about Unitarian Universalist rituals? Are they meaningless too? But he was obviously swiping at Christianity and Judaism and, more specifically, the Roman Catholic Church. But, it was a very broad statement. He was speaking about meaningless rituals, not just in terms of Roman Catholicism, but religion in a much more general sense. So essentially saying that the rituals of Jews and Christians and Muslims and Hindus and Sikhs and pretty much every other religion than Unitarian Universalism are meaningless rituals. So yeah, a bit of a intolerant bigot there, Mr. Reverend Ray Drennan. they'd only weeded him out beforehand, he might not have said that, because, you know, well, he might have said it, but he wouldn't have said it as the minister of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, which is exactly what he did. You know, his very opinionated opinion editorial was signed, you know, Reverend Ray Drennan of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, and it did not reflect very well on the Unitarian Church of Montreal, to say nothing of the larger Unitarian Universalist religious community. Many, many people were offended, and no less than 50 wrote in letters to the editor, all criticizing Reverend Ray Drennan's intolerance and bigotry and offensiveness and so on. Let's see how we're doing on the time here. Okay, just got a couple of minutes left of recording time. Glad we got all that in. But yeah, you know, instead of dealing responsibly with the verbally and psychologically abusive and intolerant and even bigoted behavior of Reverend Ray Drennan, to say nothing of Frank Green and Val Bourdon, some other leading members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, Montreal Unitarians kicked yours truly out of the church for complaining about it. So, got a guy coming here. And, oh, doesn't want to see the signs, doesn't want to see the signs. Yeah, they're pretty sad statements, but true. So the guy saw the signs and sort of looked away. Thought he might be a Montreal Unitarian, but apparently not. Or, you know, if not a Montreal Unitarian, perhaps a visitor from out of town. But yeah, he seems to be just a resident of the neighborhood. But maybe, you know, some of the words are a bit triggering. You know, pedophilia and rape and so on. But unfortunately, you know, these are the issues I'm dealing with, and they're also the issues that Unitarian Universalists aren't dealing with properly. So let's see where we are here. Oh, just a few seconds of video left. Let's just zoom in on the mission statement of the Unitarian Church of Montreal one last time. Our spiritual community welcomes abusive clergy, nurtures abusive clergy, inspires abusive clergy, challenges everyone who speaks out against clergy abuse. Together we take action in the world to conceal Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse. How's that? Sound good? I think it's